Welcome to Higher Learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
And I'm Rachel Lynn Lindsay.
What you drinking?
You know my smoothie. My glowing green smoothie. Shout out to Kimberly Snyder.
Why shout out to her? She made it up?
She made it up. Yeah. It's great.
She made up the smoothie?
Yeah.
Who is Kimberly Snyder?
She's a nutritionist. She's so much more than that. But I'll just say she's
Why
a
you got
nutritionist.
grapes on the table?
So when you asked me what I did this weekend, I was going to tell you that I went to Palm Desert. I went to the West Coast Produce Expo. It's like the Willy Wonka of produce. You walk in. I've been to one of these before because I invested in Molly Pop grapes.
You're investing into these grapes?
I am invested.
So you're using the podcast.
No, you asked me what I did this weekend, and I wanted to bring this to you because I brought you a gift. Don't try to change it. Don't try to flip it.
There's nothing to flip. You're using the podcast. Is this an SEC violation of some
It
sort?
is not
Look
an
it up if this is
SEC violation.
So you're
Okay.
investing into this company.
I'm a brand champion.
Interesting.
Anyways, I love grapes. I always have. I went to the expo this week. We showcased our grapes. So like the Molly Pop. Now I don't even want to talk about it because the way you're looking.
Because you're participating in a
I
pump and
really
dump.
want you.
You're participating.
I brought these for you. Taste them because I'm not.
Look, I'm not getting a bag from this. Like you're participating in this pump and dump scheme with this grape company to pump it up here on the podcast.
Cut it out. I don't.
Don't cut it out. No, look, I'll participate.
So these
in
are
it.
candy snaps. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of purple grapes.
Mm-hmm. Those are good.
But
they're good.
I know you would tell me if they weren't.
They're good grapes.
I'm not a fan of purple grapes, but everyone's familiar with the cotton candy. These are the candy snaps, and like they have like a kind of a strawberry.
They're really good.
Tart taste. Like they.
You want to give the people
punch?
the website so you can go get some?
No.
Give the people the website. I didn't know. I'm just saying, give the people the
I'm
website.
gonna
They can go get
remove
some of
them.
the grapes.
I'm gonna remove
No,
them.
leave the grapes there. Look, we've sold other stuff. We've sold books. I guess it's the same thing.
What was it that you were promoting all the time?
What was I promoting?
Athletic Greens.
Oh, I wasn't getting paid for that. I'm not involved with them. I'm just
I'm
saying.
not getting paid.
You said you invested into it.
Well, that doesn't mean that I'm making a return on my investment yet.
Do you understand how flimsy this argument that you're making right now is?
No, but honestly, they're really good. And I'm like such a lover of it. And I believe in putting like my energy in things that I'm actually passionate about.
MollyPopGrapes.com.
I don't know if that's...
Pop the grapes.
It is MollyPopGrapes.com.
Everybody go to MollyPopGrapes.com and you know what the grapes should, so Molly Pop, it should be like pop that ass.
Okay.
Pop.
Or it could be like Molly Pop.
Oh, nah. See how you went? I'm talking about like pop that ass. That's what they should do. Pop that grape.
These are for you though. You should take these. You take these. Or give them to Kalika.
Molly Pop, let me tell you something right now. Like, fuck with me on this in terms of what you will do for your commercials. You want to reach out. You want to get Meg Thee Stallion.
This was a mistake. This was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Pop that grape.
I really wanted to share with you something that I've like really been putting a lot of time into. So, anyways,
you fuck with Project Pat?
I like Project Pat.
Genius.
I like Project Pat. We already had his brother on. We should have him on too.
Love to have Project Pat.
Yeah.
Project Pat is giving his life over to the Lord. Did you see that?
No. Let me look this up.
Project Pat did a record with D1.
Then we gotta have him on.
Love Project Pat.
Like a collaboration or just a song?
They did one song together. D1 out here cooking. They did one song together, Project Pat and D1.
We got to.
Project Pat. I was in Miami this weekend. I'm left on Sunday. Shout out to everyone down there. P68. Shout out to Daryl. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Melissa. Shaniqua. Everybody that I met. We hung out. We talked about different organizational things that we can do to get the vote out, to get the people moving, to get the people going. I learned so much. They took me out on a boat in Miami.
So you were really out there living the life.
They took me out on a boat.
Little business, little pleasure.
Little boat, little business, little pleasure. They took me out on the boat in Miami. I was out there with everyone. We were eating snacks and talking about different things on the boat. I love a boat.
I do too. There's nothing better than being on the water all day.
A boat makes you rethink your positions on capitalism. Now, here's the deal. So I want to talk to my people about this, my true socialists that are out there. Because you want the boat, but isn't there a world where everybody has a nice boat?
No.
Where we all share the boat?
Okay.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
you could rent a boat.
But
I'm sure
see,
there's
that's
like
still-
timeshares of boats.
But that still requires like bread. I'm talking about to where in the greatest world of sharing and socialist values, do we all get to share a boat? I'm sure that there's not a situation where there are no boats like this. Do we share the boat? Everything is different. Because when you see the boats out there, the boats will make you go,
You got to start saying yachts.
fucking whatever.
They're yachts.
They're yachts. When you see the yacht will make you say, fucking, I want to be a tech bro. Because I
Yeah.
want to be on the yacht.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
3
Boats
days
don't
a
do that. Yachts do that.
Yeah, yeah, but you can't let that blind you because that's how they blind you. They blind you with the yacht. And then you go, oh, I got to have a yacht. And before you know it, you're fucking slashing the salaries of the people around you. And then work harder! So that you know
In the
what I
name
mean?
of the yacht.
Yeah, because you want the yacht and you see people not as people, but as little conduits to you getting the yacht.
That's what
And
happens.
then that's what happens. And then before you know it, fuck you, huh?
The yacht is symbolism. Everybody has their yacht. What is your yacht that's going to make you
Sell out?
sell out? Everybody's got it. I don't know what mine is, but everybody has one.
I know what yours is.
What? What?
That drank alcohol.
Like investing in an alcohol or just like a simple drink?
Just you being able to drink. You want to be able to have the finest drinks from all around the towns.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Like Rachel,
As if I don't do that already.
I don't know. Like, what is the thing that would make you? Because here's the thing. I don't really care about cars.
Yeah, me neither. It's not a car. It's not. A boat.
It's kind of the boat, man. Because when you're on the boat, you're like, God damn, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm on the boat. You got the boat captains, people that are there to make sure that you're having a fun time. Where you want to go? We're on the boat, the whole situation. I'm not selling out, though. I want us all to have a boat.
Did the cowboy hat get on the boat?
No. It's too risky. Very windy. You don't know what's going to happen.
No,
it's too
you're
risky
right.
for the cowboy hat to come on the boat.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, you were out there.
Definitely. I would like to say one thing before we get into the show. The scammers. Shout out to y'all. Y'all trying to get me. Y'all coming at me real hard.
What happened?
I don't even have an Instacart.
Oh, no.
But they keep asking for the scammers. I see y'all. Y'all working hard.
They keep asking you for what? Like they have your email address and
They keep you gotta wake up pretty early in the morning to fuck with the fat man. All right? Work a little harder.
I feel like next week you're going to be telling a more detailed story about how they got you.
Yeah, we'll see.
God.
Probably wasn't a good
you
job.
Use Instacart?
There's other things they try to do too.
Instacart's great.
I never use
I
Instacart.
hate grocery shopping. Like, hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's everything.
Yeah. All right. Lots of stuff. Ilana Glazer is on the show today. He's got a movie coming out called Babes. The movie is already out. It's a fantastic movie. We're going to talk to her a little bit. And we're just going to talk about some other stuff that's here on the podcast. You guys are going to love it on the other side of this break. Okay, so we were talking about what was going to happen with Donald Trump. The jury was out when he left last week. Donald Trump has been convicted of 54 criminal charges, Rachel. Guilty on all counts in his hush money trial. You guys know this. The trial stemmed from a $130,000 hush money payment that Michael Cohen made to Stormy Daniels. Shout out to Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge continues to change the country. Stormy Daniels, Scotlandville Magnet High School. We see you, Stormy.
Was she from Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Never knew it.
Stormy from Baton Rouge. I think she was around McKinley for a little while. 34 counts of falsification of business records in the first degree. A felony in New York. You guys know what happened in the trial by now. We were talking about what it meant for him to be convicted. Rachel, what does it mean?
I mean, I don't know if I know yet, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, what does it mean? Well, yeah, he was found guilty, but we know that there's a long road ahead at this point. I mean, legally, his team's already gearing up for the appeal. They could appeal it. It could possibly go to the highest court there in the state of New York. Who knows? We know that the sentencing is July 11th. I think I saw that he could have up to 20 years. He could also get probation, could also, restitution, whatever it may be. He might not have jail time. What does this mean? I saw a poll the other day because I know we talked about this, right? We talked more about like what it would mean if if he wasn't found guilty, or you talked more about it. I saw a poll that said only 4% of people this changed their mind.
That's a lot.
Is that a lot to you?
4%?
I don't know how real that poll is.
Hold on, 4% of if you're talking about 4%, it depends.
It depends
about 4% of who and 4% where. If you're telling me right now that there's 4% of people, are we talking about likely voters?
I have to find the poll.
Are we talking about independents? Because in this election that we're talking about right now, that's coming up, 4% is a sizable number. Now, they would probably hope that it was more like 10 or 15%, right? But 4% would be a lot. It depends on what those 4% are, where those 4% are, and what a difference that makes. But 4% would be a lot. I mean, look, Trump has raised, I think, over $100 million, $200 million since the verdict was read, right? So anyone thinking that a Trump supporter is going to look at this and be like, I don't like that guy anymore.
Right.
It's crazy. He already told you about that. He said he could shoot somebody and they wouldn't care. He's right. They wouldn't care. They're not going to care. We talked about the N-word tape.
Right.
And if the N-word tape were to drop, whether or not people would care about the N-word tape, the answer is probably not.
Right.
But the reality is this. Donald Trump, like any other American, was accused of crimes. The crimes that he was accused of, he had his day in court from a jury that his defense team had a hand in picking, and Donald Trump was found guilty.
Yeah.
Now, we all know the messaging that has been shared around social media. This would not stop Donald Trump from running. This wouldn't even stop Donald Trump technically from being the president. Could run the whole joint from jail like he's fucking John Gotti or something like that. But the reality is the Republicans have a decision to make now about whether or not they want to nominate a convicted felon, and they will make that decision. And another thing is we get to sit back and watch the dissonance in which the party moves with, to where every single thing that's done against Donald Trump is a conspiracy.
Well, yeah,
and every single mistake that he makes is not his fault. We've never seen anyone treated with the singular amount of white privilege that Donald Trump is being treated with. This is a masterclass in white privilege. Trump can't say enough to be racist.
Correct.
He can't commit enough crimes to be a criminal. He can't fail enough to be a failure. And he can't say enough stupid things to be stupid. He is so shielded and insulated by the idea and the concept of whiteness that he is unfucking touchable.
Yeah.
The thought conjured around him matters more than any reality. Any reality. He is a Christian that doesn't know the Bible, that fucks porn stars, that
grabs women by the pussy.
Grabs women by the pussy, is the least Christ-like, but the sheer promise of the whiteness that exists inside of Donald Trump is enough for everyone, white and black people, a lot of them who worship whiteness and aspire to the level of whiteness that Trump has. It's enough for them to say, hey, he's still our guy, no matter what.
It's the whiteness he guarantees to protect. That's what he represents, right? It's their being that he guarantees to protect. And that's true. That's something that they won't say, but that they're voting for, in a sense. I found the poll. An ABC News poll found that only 4% of Trump's supporters said they would withdraw their backing if he's convicted of a felony, though another 16% said they would reconsider it.
Okay, so that's significant. So if you say 4% of Trump voters,
from AP News,
if you say 4% of Trump voters would do that, I don't know whether or not they will or not. Right. the Trump voters, they're a wash, they're a given. The question is, where does this land in the minds of independent voters? I've seen polling that said it's between 10 and 15% of independent voters who say that they would not be voting for Donald Trump if he were convicted of a felony. If that were true,
before.
That was before. If that were true, that would swing the election.
Because I wonder if it changes, right? Because I think people try to excuse certain things. The moment Trump was convicted, he came out and he immediately gave his spiel about this is rigged. They're against him. The real decision will be made November 5th. Is it November 5th? Whatever election day is for the presidency. It's like that's the real ruling that we're waiting for. That's the real decision. He says all those things. So I would be curious if people were saying that just to say it, like the independent voters who were polled, like, oh yeah, if he's convicted, because they may have not thought he would be. And now that he is, and that is the reality, do you still believe that?
Well,
because I could see people saying, well, it really does seem like a conspiracy that all of those counts he was found guilty on. Because a lot of people thought those beginning counts they kept warning people, if you hear a not guilty, it doesn't mean that he still might not face jail time. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing if he's not found guilty on all 34 counts. Like that's what people kept saying, and then he was. So I can easily see people saying, well, this, well, that. So I'd be very curious as to what the polling says now.
And that's going to be very important. Let me tell you something right now.
Convicted.
If they put Trump in jail and they still vote for him, I don't want to hear none of this shit no more, man. I don't want to hear
he might not be
going
to, like, even if, let's just say he's sentenced to like 5 years. He's still, they're still going to appeal it. There's no bond right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he might not go to jail. He still has the 3 other cases that are out. The only one that possibly could go before November is the one in Washington, D.C., but the Supreme Court's hearing a decision right now, and that's either going to come out in June or beginning of July, where that might mess up that case entirely, depending on their decision, whether or not Trump's
there will be
immune.
Retribution. Trump is their retribution. House Speaker Mike Johnson says that DA Alvin Bragg, whose safety I'm actually concerned for.
And his and the judges.
And the judges' safety I'm actually concerned for. The Republicans are going to investigate them. They are going to make sure that their daddy Trump is taken care of. I'm wondering, I want everybody to be cognizant of this. At a certain point, you're going to start to see people jump ship if the Trump train looks like it's going to be derailed.
Mm.
Just pay attention to the ones that jump ship, how they change, how they peel back, and what happens. Because if Trump loses in November, it severely, severely hampers the MAGA movement. This is what people should think about when they vote, right? If Trump loses, it severely hampers the MAGA movement. That's 2 elections lost. That's a bunch of other, at the national level, that's a bunch of other state elections lost. And the Republicans then will do everything to change their electorate and pull back a little bit. If Trump wins, it's not just another term of Trump. It gives the acolytes, Tim Scott, J.D. Vance, Gates, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's essentially steroids for them. There's Trumpism and MAGAism that will last way beyond his death for an entire generation, maybe longer. Maybe it's the permanent new Republican Party. Maybe it already is, but there's a chance that it ends in November. There's a chance that losing national election after national election and high-profile election after high-profile election will change the structures within the party. There's a chance.
There's a chance, but with Trump stepping out and going on Fox News and saying the people aren't going to respond to this well and they're going to reach their breaking point. Well, everyone's taking that as a warning.
Yeah,
so,
what does that mean? If they reach their breaking point,
but did you know what
crazy?
stand back and stand down or whatever it was he said before, man?
Yeah, but that part of it, I don't care about. I got guns. So if they reach their breaking point, I'll break back.
Okay, but that's you. But the point being is that it sounds like it's a warning. It sounds like it's a dog whistle to.
I'm sure it is.
And I'm just saying he's already laying the ground for what he's expecting his people to do.
Hey, bring it. Let's have a fun time.
No,
I'm not,
that's
it's
fun.
no pussies over. It's Baton Rouge. Bring it. Let's have fun. Let's have fun. Like when you, Rachel, when you get a little scared of them, just come over to the house. I'll put a goddamn 380 in your hand, point and shoot. Easy work. Just be like I'm saying, just yeah. I'm not scared of them.
I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying that what he's doing.
Yeah. I know you're right.
Up.
You're right. Yeah.
I'm glad you're not scared. And yes, I will be coming over.
Rile them up. Rile them up. Get mad. Don't give a fuck. Get not 1 ounce of fear. Get mad. Get pissed. Do whatever you gotta do. Get pissed off. Couldn't fucking care less. All the thought warriors come over to. I know you guys don't like guns. I'll fucking give you a slingshot.
Really not?
Couldn't care less. Would it be bad? Yeah, but
yes, it would.
I don't think they really on it like that. To be honest with you, I call bullshit.
Okay. All right, Eminem. Are you a big Eminem fan? Would you consider him like top 5, top 10 rappers of all time?
The thing is, you almost have to.
Okay.
Right? But
top 5 or top 10? Top 10.
Top 10. Top 10 for sure. Top 5 if you're really... It's hard not to have Eminem in the top 5. But
yeah,
top 10 for
super
sure.
Influential.
I loved Eminem. Loved
in the beginning.
When he was making great rap music, great for that time, he was making great rap music.
Why is it past tense?
The music doesn't age very well.
Okay. Lyrically.
Well, lyrically, it's still great music, but it's very 24-year-old music.
I only say lyrically because people have brought up like things that he has said about certain people in the past, which is what we're going to talk about today, but in the present.
I used to love, Eminem said, a serial killer hid murder material in the cereal box on top of your stereo. Like that type of stuff, when you're like a 23, 24, 25-year-old guy. Now, don't get me wrong, Eminem is fucking ill. He's got, it's crazy. 7 different levels to devil worshiping horses' heads, human sacrifices, cannibalism, candles and exorcism, animals having sex with them, camels, mammals, and rabbits, like all of that stuff. Like when you're a kid and you're like, oh shit, yeah, he's crazy. When you get to like 30, 35, you're like, I don't want to listen to, camels, mammals, and rabbits. Like it's different. The music is like a little different.
It makes sense.
He's a fantastic rapper.
All right, well, he has a new song out called Houdini. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
It's making the rounds. It sounds familiar, right? It sounds like how he first came out. Mm-hmm. Which is also what people are talking about. All right, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding this because he has a lyric in this song that people are saying takes an aim at Meg Thee Stallion because of what happened with Tory Lanez. And there is a shooting reference. And what he says in the lyric, actually, Ashley, can you play it?
It would be aspirin to break your feet if I was to ask for Megan Thee Stallion if she would collab with me. Would I really have a shot at her feet? I don't know, but I'm glad to be back like that.
All right, so people are split on this. A lot of people are upset because they feel like he's attacking Megan Thee Stallion when she's talked about already how traumatizing this has all been. We know a lot of people didn't believe her leading up to the trial and even during the trial. And even after the trial, people still didn't want to accept the fact that Tory Lanez actually did shoot her feet. Whenever you start smiling, it makes me wonder, like, what are you thinking? So when you heard this lyric in the song, did you immediately say, oh my gosh, here goes Eminem attacking, jumping on the train? We've seen other rappers like Drake make reference to Megan Thee Stallion after the trial as well. Did you think, oh, here goes M doing that? Or did you understand it in a different way?
So I heard the lyric before I actually heard the song because like you're not really, it's not like, oh shit, Eminem dropping, let me go. And it's 2 things. Number 1, it's what he's always done. And you're sad that he's still doing what he's always done.
You mean rapping in this way?
I'm talking about Eminem is always taking things in pop culture, incidents, stuff like that, and then poked fun at them. One was like Christopher Reeve, Sonny Bono's hitting some trees. That he would always do that, right? Things that you would be like, oh my God, how could you make fun of that? Eminem would do it.
Mm-hmm.
He would do it when it came down to Britney Spears. Eminem has a song called Same Song and Dance off an album. I can't remember which one it's off. And it's about essentially he's a serial killer killing different pop stars, right? So it's nothing new, but ain't nobody fucking with this. He might not be new, but we're desperately trying to be new.
Right.
So ain't nobody fucking with this. Bruh, this is the problem with that cookout shit. You let somebody in the cookout and then they put their feet up on the couch and start grilling on the grill. There's no way in hell that anybody should be okay with Eminem making fun of the shooting of a black woman. We're trying to have a different type of conversation about it. Look, everybody, oh my God, just have fun. It's just Eminem rapping and blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to have fun with it. It ain't fun. It ain't fun to me. It's not fun. There hasn't been one person that has been able to successfully poke fun at that woman getting shot at her foot to where I was like, oh my God, yeah, hilarious. It's just not funny. It's just not funny. It's not cool to laugh about. It's not cool to poke fun at. It's not cool to do the whole thing. It's just not a situation that I'm going to buy that from. And with him, he should know better.
Why should he know better?
He should know better because I will give Eminem credit for this. The one thing that he has done as a white rapper and as someone who is making money off black culture and has made a career off black culture, what he's always been good at to me, besides the stuff that was uncovered about him, that the records that he made early in his career, and I know that you guys have heard that, when he was mad at the black lady and he called her every single fucking nigger thing in the book, all of that stuff that was uncovered by Dave Mays and The Source back in the day. But since Eminem has been a mainstream rap figure, he's actually been pretty deferential to the greats of black music.
Sure.
And pretty deferential to black music itself and pretty respectful to the fact that he is not black and he makes black music. And so an infraction of this kind, where like you're taking a black woman and making fun of the domestic violence that happened to her, I honestly, I'm wondering how the fuck does a 50-year-old guy make that mistake? Like, nah, there's nothing, it's whack. Is whack, is Lil Dick energy, and not just for him, but for everybody around him. Dr. Dre is in the video with Eminem where he has a lyric about domestic violence, right? And they're making a joke out of it. Dr. Dre is the last person that should be in. And by the way, this even goes back to Guilty Conscience, a song that Eminem and Dre made, where M talks about the fact that Dre slapped D Barnes. Dre viciously beat the shit out of D Barnes. And that is how a lot of people learned about the domestic violence situation, not the domestic violence, but the
assault.
The vicious assault on D Barnes from Dr. Dre. And like it's not fun. It's not fun. I don't know what to say. It's not fucking funny. It's whack, and Eminem should be held to account for this. It's not jokes.
He's continuously done this. Mm-hmm. So he had a song before where he backed Chris Brown when Chris Brown assaulted Rihanna. Mm-hmm. He was I don't know the exact lyric, but there was a song he did because he's since come out like in 2020 and apologized for something he said in favor of Chris Brown and basically not acknowledging what happened to Rihanna. Again, physical violence against a black woman, and he sides with the man, just doesn't get it. He apologizes for it 10 years later. And now here we are again, where you're making fun of, which he probably tried to argue, oh, it was a creative way. That's not really what it is. And actually, I saw a lot of people who were taking up, Black people, Black women who were taking up for Eminem in the comments. They were like, you guys just don't get it. Everybody's so soft and sensitive.
That could
In
be true.
2024, he wasn't saying, he was playing on the word feet. Yeah, we get that. But that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it, like, this is where you get down to the slippery slope. If you start excusing that, then you'll start allowing other stuff to happen and you'll backtrack right back into where we were before, where we take the domestic violence against women, particularly Black women in this case, lightly. We just let it roll off our backs, and we can't do that. You have to hold him accountable. Are you apologizing for things that you've said in the past that are detrimental to Black women, or are you making fun of them in a new song? Which one is it? It just, to me, from the sound of the song to the way he was rapping, and I know it was all about nostalgia and how he was doing it in the video or whatever, but to me, it just shows that it's like you need to stop.
Okay,
Like, you're out of touch.
So
You're out
this,
of
this
touch.
is what I'll say about it. The real thing that it shows is that the Eminem, the real thing that it shows is that Eminem he wants to be where he was in 99, 2000, 2001 again. What this really is about is getting us to do what we're doing right now, which is to go, oh my God, look how far Eminem has gone. Look where, if this song is a throwback, it's a retread of songs that he would have made like when I was in college. So the main point of the song is to get us to do what we're doing right now. That's absolutely true. It's almost, that's in.
Okay, talking about it.
No. Not even talking about it. The main point of the song is for the song, when he would do this stuff, the point would be to get GLAAD mad, to get women's groups mad, to get, so that people would, like, he had a song on one of the albums to where he talked about, he said, I got 7 Glocks from Klebold. Like, Saddam Al-Line, stand on the line at an AK-47, a Mac 11, a 9, and that's a whole school of bullies shot all in one time. And he was talking about Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris from the Columbine. Like, that is a lyric that you put in a song to upset people. Like, you want to upset people. You want them, the controversy helps draw eyes to what it is that you're doing.
But, sorry.
No. That I'm saying. And so I'm
but
saying
does that work now?
No. So we're different and the kids are different. The question is, who is it for now? In a way, I'm not saying that we shouldn't discuss it. I'm saying that that's what he wants. He wants to be the edgy 23-year-old guy again, 27, 28-year-old guy again, because he was like 27 when he dropped at first. And he's trying to reclaim his youth by doing it. I just think that now, are we soft and sensitive? Yeah, we're sensitive when it comes to domestic violence. We weren't before. We weren't sensitive. As a society, we weren't sensitive. We're sensitive now. The question is, are we better off because of the sensitivity? I think so.
I think so too. But that's my whole point of that he seems to be out of touch. I understand.
No, he's definitely not out of touch.
I understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
I just don't think that works in 2024. Even us talking about it, we're talking about it, right? It's a point of conversation. It's relevant to the issues that we discuss on this podcast. But I'm not running out to go support or continue to listen to him. Before, I was intrigued, right? When he talks about religion and he talks about go to war with the Mormons and take a bath with the Catholics in holy water, no wonder you try to hold them under longer. I was still intrigued to listen. I wasn't offended. It didn't get me in that same way.
Even that was to piss.
I know.
Question right now. Will we be talking about what Eminem dropped had he not done this?
No.
That's what Eminem cares about. And the question is, we have to hold it accountable and make him care more, but the reality is he cares about people talking about his music, and he knows that the way to make us care is to do something that's outlandish, that pisses us off, and then makes us come on. I just want to make sure that we know that.
No, I get that. But in the past, that has contributed to his success.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, what I'm saying is, in 2024, is that going to translate to success?
We will have to see.
That's what I'm saying.
The song is also
so.
trash. So,
terrible.
Yeah, so the record also sucks. And then, like, some of these other records that we're talking about like the Real Slim Shady is an amazing record. Some of these other records that we're talking about are really good records. Another thing is this record actually sucks. It actually looks like Eminem cosplaying as a younger Eminem.
And I get some of that is his point, but it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. All right. Caitlin Clark, gotta talk about her.
Are y'all tired? Y'all tired of Caitlin?
What are your thoughts? Everybody's upset at how she's being treated. I don't know if you guys
we
have
did
seen.
this last. We talked about it last time, right? Go ahead. You want to talk about what Monica said? Actually, we should play what Monica said.
Well, yeah. Play what Monica McNutt. Monica McNutt was on
First Take,
and they were having a conversation, a very long conversation, 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
40-minute block.
Like, these blocks aren't even 20 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes they spent on this.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, Monica McNutt came out and called Stephen A. out for not really having cared about the W before. I think what she was saying is that there are a lot of people that are coming to the sport at this particular point that don't understand how the sport is played, how physical the sport is played, and how rookies are typically treated, that are shocked at the trial by fire that Caitlin Clark is having to go through.
And about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let me, I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a black man?
Being black. Hold on 1 second.
Have you?
So this is what I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, and maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. When you no. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say you know, and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right. Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go to you guys.
So did you say
you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
All right, let's
got it.
You're my guy, but I'm talking to you.
I got it.
Guys, I really appreciate
you my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys.
Nobody was, Monica. You making Stephen A's point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A's point.
Please let me do my job. Please let me do my job. We've gone for 40 minutes straight. It was a riveting discussion. I have to get into commercial break.
Which is insane. Why can women not play the sport in an aggressive manner? It's wild to think that new people watching the WNBA do not think that women can be competitive, athletic, aggressive, when it comes to like going up against another team or another player or a rookie. It's wild to me that that's even a thought process. They might not, I guess, I don't even know.
Upset.
Well, yes, it baffles me that you would think that the women aren't going to be aggressive. And they always have been. Yes, I know more people are watching now that Caitlin's there, but they're aggressive with other players on the court. It just seems that all eyes are on Caitlin. Or what it's really highlighting are the new fans that are watching this game, or the media attention the new media attention coming to the game is only watching Caitlin. It's almost as if they're not paying attention to any other games or any other players on the court or any history, which is what frustrates people who have been fans of the sport or who have laid the groundwork for the sport, been playing in it, or the league, I should say, and you have people coming in trying to dictate or put their own opinions on what they think should happen when this has always been an inherent part of the game.
Look, I don't want to get too into people's heads. Now, what happened, there's a flagrant one against Caitlin Clark by Chicago Sky Guard. Is it Kennedy? Kennedy Carter? Kennedy?
It's Kennedy.
It's Kennedy Carter.
Isn't it?
It's spelled in
Now you're making me question it.
CH.
Yeah, but that CH can be a Kennedy.
I like that.
Can we get that right?
Yeah. Now, if you watch, there had been some chippiness in the whole game. Caitlin had got some shit off, and Kennedy.
This was like a big matchup.
Yeah, it's a big matchup. Okay. Now look. There's something we have to be honest about. We have to be honest about is two things here. One, people want to see Caitlin Clark cook. They loved her in college. They want to see her cook. She's out there, and these women don't want to be cooked. They're not going to be cooked. They don't want to be cooked. They don't think that it's a badge of honor to have a rookie come out and put 40 on their head. They're not with that. It was supposed to be that Caitlin Clark was going to come to the league and fire up 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. And the league was going to be off and running. And they were all supposed to be so appreciative of getting their asses cut by a rookie that was coming. They don't feel that way. They want her to earn it.
Of course.
And that's the same way it would be with any league anywhere, okay? And so one part of this is just about sports. Nobody wants to say good shot 50 times in a game as somebody is busting your ass, especially when they're coming in, when somebody's coming in to quote unquote save your sport that you've been playing for seasons.
Yeah.
Right? All right. And nobody's appreciative. Oh, God, we should let her score, whatever. We've talked about this. But there's another thing that's at play here. There have been a lot of prominent Black guys that have come out and taken up for Caitlin Clark. I just want to ask the question. Y'all don't think it's funny and odd that y'all are forming like Voltron as soon as a white woman gets in trouble? Like, that's not, I'm sorry, that's funny to me.
Make sure you post it.
That's funny to me, man. That's funny. It's like, I get it, man. Now we have to have, a rookie is getting physical treatment in sports league. Water wet. Rookie getting welcome to sports league moment. Water wet. Like, to see all of y'all come in at the same time and talk about the fact that you're going to stop watching, that is different, that is fucked up, because a white woman is in trouble. I'm telling you, I've seen Serena Williams treated like shit. I've seen Simone Biles treated like shit. I've seen Sha'Carri Richardson treated like shit by peers, by people from the other team, by Black men in the media. Somebody who lost their mom, somebody who had a tough way, and since she been dusting people in track, I haven't heard those same people exalt the singular track talent that she is as much as they've been on her ass.
Right.
And Sha'Carri had lost her way for there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark is arrogant. Caitlin Clark is boisterous. Caitlin Clark is a tough, competitive player.
Right.
If you ask me, the energy that she's getting is people that don't want to get shined on. Fouls happen in the game. There is, for a lot of people, an uncomfortability with watching white people struggle. They don't like it. It makes them uncomfortable to see white people treated unfairly. There is an issue that arises in people's brains that white equals full citizenry. And so because white equals full citizenry, when a white person is treated in a way that they deem unfair, I think subconsciously it makes them think, well, God damn it, can we ever be treated fair? If they treat the white people like this, then how they gonna treat us? There is no other reason for us to be making as big a deal about basketball players on a basketball court, other than the fact that it makes you a little uncomfortable to see her get fouled or to see her get locked up or clamped because she white. And it's just funny. It's funny because a lot of times these determinations are made and these things are said, and we go, nah, that's unfair. It's unfair to cast brothers in that light. It's unfair to say, hey, man, we treat white women different. Like, we expect our sisters to be strong. We expect our sisters to be invincible. We expect our sisters to be indestructible. We expect them to be all of this strong black woman stuff, but a white woman break a nail and everybody run over. Are you okay? Becky, is it bleeding? Like what? Like what's going on? Like, well, there's a place up here, Full Set Gel Manicures will pay. Like the whole nine. I'm just wondering, are y'all niggas serious? Like
it's weird.
Like just fucking relax. It's like she got fouled. She elbowed the girl before you even give a fuck. Like, are y'all niggas, are you crazy? What the fuck?
It's weird. It's demeaning to the game that the women play. But then it's also, how are you not seeing that you're playing into certain stereotypes? Like, almost as if the black woman is one thing, and when she's coming, like when she's fouling or a harsh foul against a white woman, you're playing into stereotypes of how a black woman should be versus how a white woman should be. And I really think that Caitlin Clark, and I don't know if she's specifically been asked this, I don't think so, but I think she would be like, enough, like, I just want to play the game. Because she's a competitor. I'm pretty sure she doesn't like the fact that certain people are saying, handle her with kid gloves or babying her. It takes away from the athlete that she is. Like, it takes away from who she is. It's like she wants to compete. She is an athlete. Let her play the game. You don't need to handle women's basketball delicately. Let the women play the sport. I mean, and it's interesting too, and this is a white on white example. It's particularly Caitlin and all the attention surrounding her. I told this story before on the podcast. Kelsey Plum was telling a story to Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, and she says that she was playing against Diana, and Diana elbowed her in the stomach and then shot a 3 in her face and basically was like, welcome to the league. So it just happens in the game. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not saying that's okay. Obviously, if they had seen that,
no, it is okay.
But I'm just saying, I'm not saying, okay, yes. Playing rough is a part of the game is my point. But the point is Caitlin in particular, that's a white on white example. Caitlin in particular, it's just weird how y'all are talking about her. And I don't understand how you don't get the bigger picture of it, or how she is so separate in her game and who she represents in the league. It's like you have to protect her like she's a precious being, and nobody else gets that treatment. Yes, it's black against white, but it's also just none of the other WNBA players are given that much grace.
Let me tell you something, man. Michael Jordan came into the league, ooh, ah, ee, ooh, ah, ee, ooh, ah. And the Pistons were like, ain't no ee, ooh, ah. We beat you down.
What was it instead?
They were like, ooh. That's what the Pistons was doing. Man, I think there was one game where literally Dennis Rodman pulled out a 22 and tried to shoot Michael Jordan on the court. Like,
Stop.
Bro, they talked about it on The Last Dance. Dennis Rodman put a 22 in his pants, and Jordan was going up, and you could hear it if you isolated. You could hear pop, pop, pop. Like Dennis Rodman tried to shoot Michael Jordan with a 22 in his thigh, and Jordan dodged that shit, you know? And so, I mean, they were doing all kinds of stuff. They were giving Michael Jordan Indian burns, you know, they were wet willies. They were checking his oil when he would drive they were pulling out all the stops to try to stop Michael Jordan, right? And what do we talk about as part of Michael Jordan's team? Michael Jordan got a weight set. He went to Walmart. He bought a weight set. And he started, like, lifting weights. And he was really strong. And before you know it, he had enforcers. He had Pip there. He had Charles Oakley there for a while. And he learned how to play through the physicalness of the game. And he changed his game up a little bit. Maybe the Fever need a Draymond Green. Maybe they need something like that. Who knows? But what I do know is just watching them, all of them, everyone, make such a big deal about this is so psychologically telling. Bro, I was there. I watched people go, why does Serena Williams talk to the refs like that? Why is Serena Williams acting this? I've watched you guys treat black female athletes the way that you've treated them. It's just not the same. She could get away with whatever she wants, and the minute anybody touches her or checks her, that foul's not like she got wrapped in her shit. Angel Reese literally just got yanked down to the ground, to me, a super flagrant with an A, S-U-P-A, and I didn't see a million people give think pieces on why Angel Reese is being treated that way. Angel Reese said, welcome to the league.
No. Well, also, just to point out, we're watching more WNBA games than we ever have before.
Yeah.
So, like, they're seeing it and they're appalled, but it's like playing rough is always a part of the game.
And Caitlin Clark is going to figure it out. Caitlin Clark is starting to catch on to the game and understand how she's got to get free and score and stuff. It's going to be Caitlin Clark's league. It really will one day. I think that her skill set is sublime and it'll get there. Just watch the game and shut the fuck up. Watch the game. Shut up. All right? Watch the game and shut the fuck up. This is too much now. Everyone, nah, man. They treating her unfair. Caitlin Clark gotta get the chance to shine. Man, Caitlin gotta go get it. This ain't no it's not the welfare NBA. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, I don't.
But it's just watch the games and shut up.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Basically.
I was so upset. That's
It's
enough.
wild.
There's no more podcasts to do. We have Ilana Glazer on the podcast. It's fantastic. I can't do that.
No, that picks up. It annoys our viewers,
This
listeners.
This picks up.
Yeah, everybody in unison is nodding their head. It's your girl Rachel, aka Big Rach. Let's go.
Ilana Glazer interview coming up next. We have Ilana Glazer, who is the writer and star of Babes, along with Michelle Buteau, on Higher Learning with us today. And we're so delighted because the movie is so good. Thank you for joining us today. Let's talk about the film real quick. So I saw the movie at South by Southwest a while back, and it is hysterical. Like, very funny, very heartfelt, an amazing cast. Hassan Minhaj, Oliver Platt, Stephon James, like so many great people in the movie. With how do you decide whether or not a film you want people to see it and experience it in the movie theater, or whether or not you want it to be on a streamer? Because inside of the theater, having the feeling of laughter with other people is so powerful, but you don't typically see movies like this in the theater anymore. So how did you know that you wanted it to be in theaters for people to see?
I didn't know that you were at South by. That is awesome. That was like a singular, I mean, I knew you were at South by, but I didn't know that you were at the screening. It's like, that was such a unique experience for me in that theater too. I don't decide. It would be so cool if I did. I just am at the behest of whatever deal we can make with the movie. And we were so lucky to partner with Neon on this movie, because they were the ones who said, we're going to put this in 1,000 theaters across the country. And you don't get that very often these days. And you don't get the staying power that Neon is willing to provide us. Like, I just heard that this Ryan Gosling movie didn't get the numbers they wanted in the theater, so they pulled the movie after 2 weeks. But it takes a while, and especially nowadays, it's so rare to gather people to leave their houses, get their eyes off of their phones, and to go do something. That it needs time to build. You need time to like build a story with an audience about the movie to go see it, you know? And so we're really lucky that Neon wanted to do that, because we're in theaters for I think at least through July 4th. And we'll see what happens after that. But I'm I'm so excited that you were there at South by, because that was unbelievable. And having the opportunity to see this movie in theaters for like screenings, and I'll do a Q&A after, like, wow, I find it like so important politically, spiritually, to get together with strangers from your community, with people who you don't know or look different than you do, and to laugh with them. It's like spiritual to me. You know, that's like a way to connect and have like that's it. Like to have faith together that it's worth, that this is like a world worth being in and fighting for and existing in together.
Yeah. I feel like we need movies like this right now, but just for so many reasons. One, to laugh, but then also I'm so curious, especially as you've been having these Q&As and you've been talking with people, what has been the response? Because I love that this movie doesn't just deal with the lead up to childbirth. It deals with the aftermath of it too. And I'm sure, women who've gone through this, or even like men, who have been connected to this, what has been their response in you dealing with topics that maybe we really haven't seen and we really need to see?
The most exciting thing, it's such a privilege to have people, to be seen, to be heard in this world, especially this world that's so increasingly chaotic, designed to be chaotic, so we can't keep our eyes on the ball, to have people like get what we're trying to do by saying, man, it was so funny, I was laughing, and in theaters especially, like missing the joke because people are laughing together from the last joke or whatever. But then to see and hear feedback that people are surprised to be crying and getting emotional and having that space to like feel big feelings together after laughing so hard. Like, I think we really worked to earn it. And that has felt so rewarding, because I know I need a good cry. I watch like Coco and Moana over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm weeping. And it's not about Coco. You know what I mean? It's not about Moana and her grandma. Although it is a little bit, but it's like, for other stuff, but I like have this sort of like, this space to feel all that stuff. So that's been like really rewarding for moms and dads. And yeah, people like surprised that like this guy was crying behind me. Like, I love it. I think, it's, as we like started, I wrote this movie with my friend Josh Rabinowitz, and like really the seed of the idea came from our producer Susie Fox, and we were putting together a list of the most surprising and absurd things we were experiencing. I was pregnant, Josh's wife was pregnant, and Susie had a 1 and a 3-year-old, and all that was like so funny and easy to come up with, because it's absurd to see your body grow and you kind of have no control, but you chose this. It's like, if things are right, you chose this, whatever. But to see how uncovered this story is from the female perspective is like shocking. It's shocking. And I think that has been detrimental to women, but also to men. People are also surprised at how complex the male characters are in this movie. Like starting with Hasan Minhaj, who plays Michelle's husband. He's like this like sweet and beautiful, lovely young dad who clearly has his shit together and he has his job and everything's like pretty organized. But he's also tired, depressed, stressed, frustrated. And that was something we were like keeping in mind as we were writing this character, because it's fun to make like the ideal, just sort of like repository for your fantasies character, but it's like not that interesting in the end. And I think as important as it is to center women in the story of pregnancy and birth and child rearing, we're also lacking nuanced stories about men too. Like, I don't know, Homer Simpson, that's the typical dad story.
Yeah.
And then every dad story we see kind of a similar center and the side characters and a similar proportion of the ingredients. And I even think just having like a gentler, more realistic, more complicated space for dads is important too.
I have actually two questions kind of about the movie that revolve around that. One is that when I saw it, the film has an insanely diverse cast, people of all ages, all backgrounds. But like, I kind of didn't care because the story was so gripping. It felt like a world that was very real, that was super duper real, and the jokes were jokes that are so easy to laugh. The relationships in the movie are so believable that I wasn't like looking at like, oh my God, how great, how diverse the film is. I kind of didn't care about the actual diversity of the movie. Is that okay? Is that okay that I didn't care?
I'm like fully verklempt hearing you say this, and I'm just like managing it because it's like not time to be that emotional right now because we're like recording a podcast. But like that just means so much to me, and I'm just reflecting on like how lucky I am to come up and grow up through comedy, because you get different kinds of people from all different ways you can be different, like from all different like channels of diversity that you can name, racially, ethnically, in their faith, in their age, in their how much money they got, you know? And I've been in comedy for 18 years. Michelle's been for 23 years. And like this whole movie is like made by like old comedy family. Josh Rabinowitz, who I wrote this with, we've just been friends for like almost 20 years also in comedy. And it's like, I think just, keeping our heads down and doing the work to create a story that could serve, that was just a good story about friends, you know what I mean? But like, and like, we actually didn't happen to write this for Michelle. We wrote this, like our Susie, our producer, was Michelle's character in writing this because she had a 1 and a 3-year-old and was like losing her mind. And Josh and I were my character Eden because his wife was pregnant and I was pregnant. We didn't know what we were in for. And so I think just like centering real character archetypes and a real friendship was like at the center of this. I think, I just feel so lucky to have to get to know so many different kinds of awesome people in comedy after all these years of doing it. And it also reflects New York. This is like my comedy family, the Lucas brothers, Hassan, Michelle.
They're funny.
It's just, they're so funny and so real. Like part of the comedy doesn't even have to be pushed because like that realness is so funny. We live in for so long, we've lived in such a like scripted, like the way we grew up, things were supposed to be a certain way. You didn't talk about politics or whatever. And like, just like these people who are so real, and we've all been practicing like being true for so long that it really, I'm so glad that it hit you that way because it felt that way making it.
Oh, did you have a follow-up, you said?
I do. Just one follow-up. So I'm asking this question. I don't mean to trigger anyone, but I'm asking this question because of more conversations I've been having with my mom. So as, my mother, we talk, and I told you the time that she told me about, the fact that she was having fantasies about. So my mother is very interesting. My mother was having fantasies. My mother told me, she's like, son, sometimes I have fantasies about a world in which you were never born.
Oh yeah, you said
she's like, what my life would have been if you and your sister were never born. And when you hear that at first, you're like, God damn, I thought your whole life revolved around my life. Like I thought, you know what I mean? So she first you're all upset, and then you have the conversation. I was thinking about this because we're getting into more depictions of parenthood that really reflect in the way that I understand it. I'm not a parent, but with people who like talk about it in ways that are not very glamorous, like all the time, right?
Which I like.
Which I enjoy too. I wanted to ask just a blunt question. Is it okay to not like parenthood? Is it okay to not like motherhood? To think it's hard, to question why you did it, to like need a break, to express the exhaustion? Is it okay for people at this point to be like, yo, this is a lot. Maybe I don't dig this as much as I thought that it would be, that I would, because it seems like that's the one thing that triggers people more than anything, particularly when a mother says, I need a break, or I'm not really enjoying being a mom, or being a mom is much harder than I thought it was going to be. Is that okay to say? Is that okay to talk about?
I think it's necessary to have the space to feel it in order to have a healthy relationship with your kid. I think when I was growing up, I was born in 1987, so I'm like a real kid in the 90s. In the 90s, it was like there was no option. Like you had to say it was your purpose and your blessing. That was the only like note, it's like one note being played over and over and over and over would drive anybody insane. And as like toxic and evil as social media can be and can be used for, I think that there's also, sorry, I'm outdoors because it's so beautiful out and there's a plane overhead. I think it's like so important that there's a space that used to be like in the deep corners of the internet to like, that is now like more of a main discourse conversation, to be able to say that stuff and to feel it. And, a lot of people I hear people say like, or moms say, I wasn't like a fan of the baby phase, or I didn't like it. And I liked when they could like finally do some stuff themselves. And it's like, that makes sense. Like, how was there no space for that before? And it's like, you can't really like turn off being a parent for a year or something, but like to have the little spaces to like let out that steam is necessary. Otherwise, you're like getting this like steam out the other pipe that it's not supposed to come out of, and like these like sort of passive aggressive or like weird energy that like a kid can't explain but like feels and absorbs. It's necessary.
When you started this movie, y'all started with writing it, filming it, Roe had not been overturned. And
my
then
God.
It was overturned, obviously, in the Dobbs decision. And then this movie comes out after. And I'm wondering, did you guys think about the relevancy of this movie, the timing of it coming out in light of, because Eden there's a point where she's trying to figure out a choice, and like Don's like, I support you no matter what, but it deals with choice, which is really great to see. And ultimately, she, spoiler alert, she decides to have the baby. Did you think about that in light of that choice is now being challenged, it feels like every single day, and this movie was about to come out? Did you think about the relevancy of that in the movie? And I'm wondering how you felt about that.
We were like a little nervous where we were like, well, she chooses to have the baby. Is anybody going to take this and run with it and be like, see, y'all, babies are miracles or whatever?
Yeah.
But then it's funny. The whole movie's so like these female characters are so strong and empowered and know who they are and what they want that it's like nobody from the room wants to touch this movie or touch me and Michelle in any way, in any like supportive way. So it really is a movie about a woman making a choice with her body. I think it certainly highlights how cruel and psychotic it is to force a woman to be pregnant. That is like, to really sit with that for a second, that is so crazy. That is so crazy, especially with no net on the other side to hold that mother and child is like, I just like, whatever, misogynist, racist, insane. But like, even before that, it's like, just crazy. I mean, so violent. But I think while we were making it, I think it just made the whole world feel heavier, and actually that was like kind of the thing where it was like, damn, it's important to laugh and have spaces to laugh and things to laugh at. And we weren't even really thinking about like being women or this and that, because it just felt so immediately tragic and depressing and like, fuck, I hate that shit. Like the right they themselves as individuals feel fucked up, and rather than like feel that and then go like get some help for it, they make the world more fucked, and we have to sit in their feelings with them. It's like, this is just not how it should be. I don't think we weren't I am not necessarily like, this is really important. You know, it's like, I'm just like, ooh, I'm so excited to tell this story. But it's like, damn, we're telling this story in a world that like has this now or doesn't have this now. Like, you stink. You stink. Like, nobody wants to party with you. And that's why you shit the party. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, it just, it like knocks me off my course as intended, you know? So it just takes a little bit, it definitely took a little bit more to be like, oh, okay. All right. I guess I'm going to go like make this joyful thing with people I love and really actually hold that, you know, like I think like during Broad City, I was so, like for those that don't know, I had this show Broad City for 5 seasons with my Broad City partner, Abby Jacobson. And it was like also this miraculous like show. Like how did such a, you know, feminist show like happen? You know, I feel, I think I was like uncomfortable with the success of it and didn't know how to hold that and the blessing of it and my gratitude and the privilege of it. Whereas I think this time around, being older and having done the like hard work of like making a person and birthing them and raising them, I didn't feel like weird about it. I was like, this is where it's meant to be. I'm where I'm meant to be and like take each day and yeah, have the most fun today possible type of thing.
How is social media for you right now? I mean, it's a landmine emotionally and psychologically. You never know what you're going to see. You're never going to know if you're going to see a human person blown to bits. You never know if you're going to see somebody. And then everybody that was cool 6, 8, 9, 10 months ago is fighting.
I know.
And not it's you know, yesterday I had a very exhausting conversation with someone that I talked to a lot, and by the end of the conversation, I was fucking mad. And this is somebody who I've been knowing, and you've been outspoken on a lot of the stuff going on in the world. How is it for you? Like, how complicated is all of this stuff for you?
Well, first of all, oh my God, you know, just like, oh my God, you know, like I maybe I'll work backwards is like Israel's war on Hamas, Palestine. It is this issue is so intersectional that it is unraveling. It's like if all these like complicated sort of ropes were like knotted up, it's unraveling the whole thing. It's unraveling our whole, as I was saying before, the script of moms in the 90s. Like that lands in this, Bell Hooks calls it the imperialist, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy. This issue, like everything like lands somewhere in this matrix of this system that we live in. And it's unbelievable. It's like, I'm just like, I can't even like hold it in this moment. So it's like coming out in like just whatever weird ways. Like it's so unbelievable how it is the issue. And it really has drawn this line of white supremacy. Like, you know, do you cling to, oh my God, it's so complicated and so upsetting. And in, you know, I feel like as this social media holds the joy and the suffering because there is and when I say suffering, I don't mean the psychotic and sadistic reality that we can see a genocide unfold in our palms and feel so helpless. I don't even mean that as the suffering. I actually mean the suffering of like the psyche of humanity being fed algorithms to keep you distracted from the thing or whatever. And the joy, while it's not like a typical definition of joy, I actually mean the unfolding of, you know, Gen Z and millennials discovering together that we no longer want large populations organized through genocide. We're done with it. It's 2024. We're however old we are, you know what I mean, 20 to 45. And it's no longer working for everybody. So that's what I mean by the joy, even though it's like complicated, not exactly joy. It's like unbelievable, the highs and the lows that social media can reach and continues to keep reaching. The AI shit is so scary. The fact that one individual owns the algorithm owns the majority of the algorithm to this one social media platform that most of us use is really dangerous, extremely unsettling. And in the past, 8 months, I'm noticing more and more how, and I think as a response to Hamas's attack on 1,200 Israelis, and then Israel's disproportionate response to Hamas attacking Palestine, I'm finding that the cloying, addictive nature of the algorithm has increased. I'm finding myself feeling more indebted and drawn and automatic to opening it up than before, which was bad enough before. So I'm just noticing these things, and I think it's like about at a global level, like holding the highs and lows, but focusing when I can on the highs, which are that we are seeing the same thing. We want change and organizing for it. Gen Z millennials, the majority, I think, as the majority of Americans think Israel should have a ceasefire. On a personal level, I filter and like organize my interactions where I don't really look at comments. The bad ones are as the good ones are as toxic as the bad ones, because these are not real people. Like as much as I so appreciate and will heart it and be like, thank you, bitch, yes, dude, whatever. Like, and appreciate it. And someone took the time to write a little thing and they like me or like what I'm putting out there. I so appreciate it, but it's not real. I don't really know that person. So like to keep that like organization of reality is in front of mind is really important to me. It's not truly personal, I try not to read comments at all. Although with this movie, I am like, I'm more interactive than normal, but I don't get into it. And then also I have help. My tour manager and coordinator and producer, Madeline Kim, is incredible and really helps me with my social media. And I'm so grateful because it is like psychologically burdensome. And also we have to put guardrails up for her too. It's not just like, oh, you handle it, you repository for the hate that comes my way, which is like specifically Zionist hate, which she's not a white Jewish American public figure. You know what I mean? This is not her responsibility. So it's like something we keep talking out and have to put guards around, like time. You know what I mean? Let's not do this work. We try to make, like, now that we're not on tour, like our workday is 11 to 7. And that doesn't mean we're sitting and working that long. It means we're like online for each other. Like, please get, she's so ambitious that I'm like, please stop though now. Please stop though now, And I don't get into it like the way you do, which I admire. Can't imagine that strength. I have strength for other things, but not for this, not for, people who have been like okay with what Israel's doing to Palestine in our name, people that I've admired and been like, yes, I love them and I feel like in this tribe with them. Like I sort of am just like, oh, I'm not gonna make myself sick. Health is like my focus, and for me and for what I put out into the world. And I don't know, like, how do you even do it? Like, do you have like guardrails around your interactions? Do you like talk about it a lot in therapy? Like, how do you deal? Because I find it really scary,
Well,
I don't really deal with it.
There's Rachel does. So this is my thing. Number one, I'm wrong a lot. So I like to get my, I get my ass kicked and I take my whippings and I try to come back better. You can't kill me. You know what I mean? Like I get it wrong and then I learn and then I come back. My dad used to always say, you can't kill me. My dad would say, that boy don't understand nothing until he get his ass whooped. That's what my dad used to say. So like I let the fact that I run afoul of something like help me reorganize my thoughts and come back to it. I try to do the work, but I always filter it through like a toxic lens that I got, and then I come back, boom, boom. So I have to continuously like get better by understanding the criticisms of my worldview and where I'm not doing a good job. I do wonder about you though. You didn't have to say anything. You took it upon yourself to have a very public and brave pro-Palestine stance as a prominent Jewish woman. And when I saw it from you, because I follow you and and you know when I saw it from you, I was actually like, wow. Why was that important to you?
First, I just want to say my husband also is like steps up with being like, I'm wrong. Tell me. I want to know that I'm wrong. It's such a like disruptive thing to hear from a man. I like love it and totally appreciate like learning on the field. I love it.
It doesn't happen easy. It doesn't happen easy now. Like I'm not like your husband's
don't give
like
him too much credit.
Yeah, okay, let's be honest.
She doesn't know you there.
Well, hold on. Her husband's like, what she's not telling you guys is her husband's like a super genius. Like if you guys don't know that, he's like a super genius, one of the like a real actual
he's very smart.
Like smart guy. So he probably does it better than me. Like I really got to get my ass kicked. So like public shaming.
You and I are similar though in like our nature of interacting with the public, and there's a particular genius in that which he doesn't have. And I just for men to be like, no, I can be wrong. It like speaking of unraveling, it could unravel the whole society we live in
for sure
in a positive way. So I appreciate it. Man, like I mean, it wasn't even. I guess it was like a choice to write something and to be writing things and posting them or something, but like it doesn't feel like this choice to get a chocolate croissant or a plain croissant. It feels like this, like I just got croissants this morning with my daughter. And she went for chocolate and didn't eat the croissant. She just like sucked the chocolate out of the croissant. I was like, girl, yum, dude. This is like, am I going to be true to myself and continue to like follow my purpose, which to me is to inject health into a sick society the way I can. I'm not going to fix shit, but I'm one person and I have what I have. I have the gifts that I have, and then I have like these major flaws, but can my gift like lend itself to a healthier world? Well, then that's not even a choice, you know? And I just grew up in such a way where I wasn't, I just was always like, there's something like, I mean, I grew up in like a segregated white suburb of Long Island. And I was always putting the pieces together where I was like, why are there like almost only white people here? This is weird, you know? And there weren't, it wasn't a Jewish town on Long Island. It was like Italian and Irish. So I would go to Hebrew school and like feel the minority stuff and learn Jewish history. And, you know, I was always putting the pieces together about like how it felt to be a white Jewish American and the sort of messaging of Israel. And it weirdly felt like the same messaging of like intense Christian stuff, Christian camp, and like some story being told. And I was supposed to like jump on the train and tell the same story. And like, I don't think this is necessarily true, but I always found like access to Israel for American Jews to be like there's some money involved. You know what I mean? Summering in Israel, like I don't know if it's money or if it's like worldview, but like we just weren't that. We were like smaller and smaller scope and not, you know, not genuinely middle class when a middle class still existed in the 90s. And just growing up, like it just always felt a little off to me. And then Birthright, not going to Birthright was like a thing, you know, but just following my instincts at that point, not conscious. And then actually we wrote this Broad City episode that was supposed to take place in Israel. The Birthright episode we were supposed to get to Israel. And then there was violence happening actually between Palestinian and Israeli teenagers. And we were like, let's rewrite it. And we just rewrote the episode. They're just on the plane. They never get there. They get to Israel and they're turned around in the airport. And after that, I think is when I started like actually, you know, it's like you have a show, you have this, like you're show running a show. You have like I think like something within myself was like, you have resources now, like understand this a little bit more. And when I started understanding like Israel's colonial roots, it made sense. Like all the things that I had felt, the instincts I had felt made sense, and why the US is pushing this so hard, and you know why we're always talking about the Jewish Holocaust but not likening it to how this country started, both against indigenous people and against Black people from Africa. Like, why are we not connecting the dots? You know what I mean? Well, because the dots are being purposely not connected or disconnected, one, you know, like snipped, you know, like, and you know, just kind of putting the pieces together and then learning about it real time with like certain news sources like Democracy Now! I love. it was like, oh, damn, this is really lining up and makes sense not only with like my instincts, but also with like American history. And so when it came time to like everybody speaking up and Hamas murdering 1,200 Israelis was crazy. That was horrible and so scary, insane and scary. And the feeling as a Jewish person and like growing up learning about the Holocaust against Jews, feeling that like in my bones was really scary. But then white American Jews in my professional community centering their victimhood just seemed so off to me that, it's just like, there does come this point where it's like, well, there's airspace and there's airtime and I want to live in reality. That's my, I think growing up, we all, I don't know what, it's like Candyland, that you can just pretend that everything, that you're on the right side of history and everything you've done, you're not only the victim, you're the hero. It's just like, that's like not cool. That's not hot to me. That's not cool. That's not what I want to like interact with. Reality and really like being able to hold reality is like mature and graceful and just part of my like set of values. So like, that's why it feels like not exactly a choice, but rather like a continuation of living as the person that I am and am becoming in the world that continues to unfold.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I want to pick up on something you said.
I just climbed up a mountain to like put those thoughts together. But I appreciate the space.
It was great
for it.
And I heard you on a podcast and you said something that was really interesting and it kind of tags on to what you were just saying. You said that society is fucked, but humanity is okay.
Ooh.
And I wonder, can you, in light of everything that you just said, how do you reason that? Or are you an optimist?
Well, I am an optimist, and it's like increasingly comedic to be optimistic in this world. But like, I really am naturally an optimist, and I mean, probably because I'm a comedian and I can laugh with anybody, and I see different kinds of people, and it's not like, I'm not talking about black and brown audiences. I'm talking about white guys whose wives took them to my shows, and they're cracking up, and they're like, they're not saying this or even necessarily thinking this language, but like their vibe is like, I can't believe this bitch. It's just so, I like the optimism I get to have from that is like, damn, feels like a privilege. And so for a long time, I tried to reason it in my mind, reconcile it by thinking that this, as Bell Hooks calls it, imperialist, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy is something different than humanity. It's something separate and alien, but it is born out of our humanity, like the way that we are. This comes from humanity. It's not from some outside species or whatever. And, like this thing lately that people are talking about, they're like, we live in a simulation. We live in a simulation. And I get how that could be because the lines of reality are systematically being blurred by a very few individuals who hold the majority of wealth. Yes, I can definitely understand why this conversation is coming up. But I think, again, reality is my jam. I think the truer thing is that society can be organized in many ways. We're organized in this one way to protect and profit a very few individuals. And it doesn't have to be that way. We could, our society could be newly organized around, America could be newly organized around recognizing true American history and reconciling that with infrastructure. Like there could be so many ways that I've been thinking like trees. We could just have a whole society organized around protecting trees. We'd all benefit from that.
Right.
But it's right. And we'd be like, fucking chilling around trees. Everyone would be relaxed and happy and horny.
In the shade. Like,
in the shade, like, trees on top of buildings so that like we could solve the climate crisis. We could solve humanity. But it's just not that way at this point. But like clearly young people who are youngish people. I mean, we're young, the three of us. We're not the youngest, in the room like we used to be. But it's like, we're the generation that are the adults. And clearly the older generation is like struggling to let go of that. I mean, like, oh my gosh, the presidential race and like the representation in government is so off. It doesn't look the way the population looks. But like this, again, the issue of Israel's war on Palestine keeps like unfolding so many different layers that like young people are not, I'll say it again, like Gen Z millennials are no longer cool with genocide being in the periphery of frame while they do their thing. Like they're really not. The majority of Americans, and I'm not saying Gen X and baby boomers don't care either. I think the majority of Americans think this is a genocide and want it to stop. Like it's a really ugly transition. But I don't even know if it's a choice or compulsion or out of anxiety, but I have faith that we're going to figure it out. But it's definitely ugly. And unfortunately, people die or are murdered along the way in that change. But that's how it's been as since this system has begun, however long ago, 10,000 years, if you want to look at it that way, or 500 years ago, if you want to look at it that way, where, progress has occurred, but it's like ugly and bloody along the way. How can we minimize that is something I'm interested in, organizing around, but hence like our presidential ticket. I'm like, there is a less violent, less murderous path here. It is not hot. Oh my God, is it unsexy? But it is less, there's less like fire and murder and bloodshed to happen along it. So like reality and like rooting myself in reality gives me hope too. Another thing with AI, I just did this like Wall Street Journal conference the other night, and a couple weeks ago, and there was like a Chat GPT answer in the voice of Alana Glazer, and this shit was so cheesy. It was so corny, and I'm like, good one, bitch. Like, little do you know, I keep evolving and keep getting deeper and wider and higher and better. Like, you can't even chase this. And everybody's like, yeah, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. People will say about AI, like, you just wait and see. The internet used to be like really dumb in the beginning, but I'm like, it's still not smarter than people. It's still about the way humans use it. Mm-hmm. And I do have faith. I guess this is not a choiceful thing, but I do have faith that people like smell authenticity from each other. They, and that we can't, that like, smart people, at least, can't be fooled out of their humanity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that.
The movie is Babes. It's got a bang-up cast. It is ridiculously funny. I watched it. I watched a couple of reviews, and the reviews were they were talking about, by the way, it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Babes is certified fresh, so you guys know. I watched some of the reviews, and one of the reviewers, I give him a lot of credit. He loved the movie, but he was like, yeah, these women that are super direct and they say what's on their mind and they're opinionated. I was like, dog. I was like,
relax.
I was like, my God.
Yes, we can.
He loved the movie. He was like, you're going to be, you might be taken aback by how opinionated the two leads are. I was like, my God, but the movie is out right now. We thank you for your time. Yes. What a fantastic interview. And we thank you for you as well, man. I'm a huge, huge fan. And we're hoping that everybody goes out and sees the movie because it is really, really, really good.
I have to say this. When I was on The Bachelorette, my producer and I would always be like, because I felt, we were fans of Broad City, and I felt empowered as The Bachelorette, even though it was a very problematic situation. And we would always, the guys would gather, and she and I would be like, wanna fuck? All the time. They'd be like, what? I was like, what fuck? Love it. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love that guy that even though we're so direct and shocking to him that he still loves it. Is like, that's like true progress, being able to hold both. Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for this space to be made. I'm so grateful for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for joining
so
us on
much.
Higher Learning so much.
Yeah. See you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow.
It's fantastic.
I love her.
I do too. I've been a fan for a while.
Babes is amazing. Go see Babes, everybody. Go see Babes. Great stuff from Alana Glazer right there. All right, that's it. No more podcasts for you guys. We're done. I want to say one thing. The guy who they were making fun of him because his license was suspended and he zoomed in from court. Everybody owes that motherfucker an apology.
Why?
Because they said that he shouldn't have been driving with a suspended license, but it turned out that his shit was supposed to be lifted in 2022. It was supposed to be lifted in 2022, and there was a filing error that stopped it, so he wasn't being irresponsible. They were being irresponsible to him. So everybody that came out, called that man stupid, got at him, walked that shit back. I was looking for to make somebody your new motherfucking mascot. And it wasn't just one person. There's a lot of people that came out and did it.
It was a funny video, though.
It was a funny video. it was.
I wasn't calling him stupid, but it was funny.
Yeah, it was a funny video. All right, we're out. Taking caps off with Non-Stop Learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel Lynn Lindsay. Bye, guys.